how this matches up because both teams have Kyogre on the team, but the big X factor in the restricted Pokemon is Dialga versus Yveltal, and Jeremy does have more Fake Out on his team, and both teams have Lele, so obviously both are trying to aim to stop priority moves and stuff like that. So I want, I find it interesting that I think I just find it like an interesting matchup because Jeremy did reveal that he has Sucker Punch earlier, and he has two Fake Out users. So I want to see exactly how he works around this. I think it would be a good call for Westley to bring his Tapu Lele. As we saw earlier, it has the Psychic Seed, and that can be used in order to stop potentially one Water Spout from killing the Lele from Jeremy's Kyogre. And we already saw that Jeremy's Kyogre is Scarfed, so there's that as well. We haven't seen the stack attack on stream. I don't know if he used it in cut or not, but Jeremy is locking in here. I think Westley can do pretty well with the Tapu Lele. I think he can do well with the Dialga going with his Trick Room mode. I think Amoonguss can be really good here, just because the teams are so similar. Being able to redirect attacks so you're able to get your games working and everything, to get your mons working and all. I think it could be really nice. And we're just about to hop into game here. And Incineroar Kyogre is going to be Wesley's lead, and Yveltal Kyogre is going to be Jeremy's lead. So it's the double restricted mon that comp that Jeremy's been kind of using all day, pretty much. Just leading with both of his restricteds. So Jeremy's so the order of battle is probably going to be Jeremy's Kyogre, then Yveltal, then Wesley's Kyogre, then Incineroar. But Wesley can obviously use Fake Out to his advantage, so how he uses it is, I think he's got to use Fake Out into the Kyogre slot, otherwise that Incineroar is probably going to go down to the Kyogre this turn. And Jeremy brings his Tapu Lele in, so that was a play that we saw earlier on stream. And being able to get that Tapu Lele in. Oh, and Wesley calls this, and he is using the Amoonguss. And yeah, Jeremy is going to go for the Water Spout. That's some pretty big damage to start out. A solid third to both of those Pokemon. But Wesley's going to fire back with the Thunder, and we'll see how much this does. That's a one-hit knockout. Oh, man. That is dangerous. Oh, my. Now the onus is up to Jeremy to figure out what he wants to swap in. It's going to be hard to use Sucker Punch. You won't be able to use Sucker Punch. You won't be able to use Fake Out. So Jeremy, I feel like he restricted his options a little bit here by going all in on the play that he can bait the Fake Out and just Water Spout. And now Wesley can pretty much go for a pretty safe... I think Wesley can go for a pretty safe Follow Me, or no, Rage Powder. And he's going to swap out the Kyogre for Incineroar there. Just get another round of Intimidates down. I can dig it. Sacking the Amoonguss also wouldn't be a terrible play here. Amoonguss is just going to protect though. Preserve itself, that's fair. I was going to say sacking the Amoonguss to potentially get the Kyogre back in. Could be pretty nice, so that way you have Fake Out potential in this upcoming turn. And then you can do whatnot with the Kyogre slot whenever that comes back in. But Amoonguss I could probably see swapping out here because it is threatened heavily by that Lele, even though it does have the Pyapa Berry that we saw earlier. I think a double up would knock it out. So and after it protected this turn, I don't know what it wants to do now. So Jeremy's just going to swap out the Yveltal into Incineroar, which is perfectly fine because it makes sense because it was at -1 attack, and you don't want to overextend this early on in the game, especially when your Kyogre has gone down now. So Rage Powder coming out, that is going to take out the Amoonguss. I thought it was Pyapa Berry, I could be wrong now. But U-turn coming out from Wesley's Incineroar. And that breaks the sash on Jeremy's Tapu Lele that we saw earlier. And you can in potential bring it back into the other slot. But now do you send out Kyogre here, or do you want to send out the other thing that you're hiding in the back? And I think he's going to opt for Kyogre, just because it does that much to... I think it just does... Oh no, it's going to be his own Tapu Lele. And there's the Psychic Seed activation. It could be Kyogre or Incineroar in this. It's going to be Kyogre. Yeah, he wants to have that offensive pressure down now. So, Jeremy's Tapu Lele has Psyshock, and I think that's going to come pretty close to getting a knockout on Wesley's Kyogre. But if Kyogre can return fire by using Scald, then you'll have Tapu Lele from Wesley's side facing down against 2 Dark types on Jeremy's side. But Kyogre's just going to swap right back out. I think just getting that Intimidate cycling is pretty nice. Or maybe potentially baiting the Psyshock. Or Psychic. Yeah. So that's going to... He's going to whiff the Psychic. Moonblast is coming out into Jeremy's Tapu Lele. And that's the special attack drop. Oh my. U-turn coming out here from Jeremy's Incineroar. Gonna get the Yveltal back in, but it is prone to Fake Out since it's not on the ground and Psychic Terrain is up. So, since Wesley's Incineroar just swapped in, he can fire off a pretty safe Fake Out into the Yveltal slot, if that's what he wants to do. Or if he expects the Yveltal to protect, just in case of a potential Fake Out plus Moonblast combination, he can just go for either a knockoff into the Tapu Lele to knock it out, or just U-turn in order to reposition. But I don't think the U-turn sounds like a good play here, just because, I don't think it sounds like a good play here because Kyogre isn't quite ready to deal the damage, I feel. Especially now that the Amoonguss is gone, you have no safe way of dealing that. So, Yveltal's just going to use knockoff into the Tapu Lele. And Moonblast also into the Lele, so good protect by Wesley. And it's going to be U-turn. If this doesn't knock out, I don't know if... Okay, so it does knock out. I was going to say Wesley could be in potential trouble if it didn't. And he's going to get Kyogre back in. Psychic Terrain is still up, so... The rain stopped. And I guess I spoke too soon about the Psychic Terrain. So, Jeremy's going to have Fake Out potential going into this next turn here. But where do you fake out into? Because both of these Pokemon look really threatening. I think you Fake Out the Tapu Lele just because it protected last turn. And you can get some free damage off into that slot. Alright, Kyogre coming back out. Incineroar coming back in. I guess at this point, just dropping Intimidates is a good way to go about the game. That's doing a good chunk, and that Yveltal did move before the Tapu Lele, so that Yveltal's going to outspeed and take out the Lele if either the Lele doesn't protect or the Incineroar doesn't fake out the Yveltal slot. I don't know why you wouldn't. So, a fake out plus Moonblast is really scary for the Yveltal. So, Wesley's just going to protect the Lele and just use Foul Play onto the Incineroar. Interesting play. And knockoff going into Wesley's Incineroar as well, knocking out the Figgy Berry there. Instin's just going to U-turn out, get Kyogre back in. I wouldn't be surprised to see him pull Kyogre back out again this next turn, just to cycle Intimidate a little bit more. I don't think Jeremy has Snarl on Yveltal. I think it was, if I'm right, it's Protect, Knockoff, Sucker Punch, and Foul Play. So, that Tapu Lele just protected, so you could attempt to finish it off this turn. Just the Intimidate shuffling is... Just Wesley has been playing it pretty safely in order to get Intimidates down. Foul Play going out into the Kyogre, and a Moonblast going into the Yveltal. Alright, that does about 80%. An Origin Pulse coming out from Kyogre. Doesn't miss its mark. And that's a double KO, so Wesley's taking game 1. So... yeah, Jeremy wasn't able to use his Fake Out, he wasn't able to use his Sucker Punch. Just because I think he overextended on turn 1, trying to go for that cheeky get Yveltal out, get Lele in, block all Fake Out, and get a cheeky knockout with the Kyogre. And Wesley was mindful of that and played around that this time around. So I think Jeremy's got to reposition, not overextend as much. So, what's going on, Saxlad? I've just been commentating this, I've been having fun, studying for finals. The same old, same old. Yeah, these are some cool teams. I've said it once, I said it before on the stream, but I'll say it again. Both teams have Kyogre, and it's been raining all day. Coincidence? I think not. Hi, Pokedad, Justin. So, Jeremy has to not let the Psychic Terrain get to him. Being able to reposition around that is would be pretty nice for him. But I haven't seen the Stack Attacker come out all day from him. And he's been on stream twice already. So they're both taking their time here. Only about 15 more seconds of team preview. And they're still both making their decisions, but Jeremy locking in here. I think he has a game plan ready, but he's not going to pull the same stuff that he tried doing in turn 1. Last game. It's raining on the West Coast. We have been in a drought for nearly 10 years. Coincidence? Coincidence that Kyogre is one of the most popular format in Sun Series? Probably. No, coincidence? I think not. Okay, so Jeremy is adapting his lead, not going for double restricted. And there's the Dialga coming out this time from Westley here. This could be trouble because without an Intimidate down on the Yveltal, I think a Knockoff plus Moonblast could take out the Dialga. Knockoff plus Psychic would take out the Amoonguss. Lol, either way, praise Arceus. Praise indeed. Alright, so Rage Powder's coming out. This could just be a Rage Powder plus Trick Room play. Alright, so the Wiki Berry's down, and Taunt coming out, so... Did Westley go for the Trick Room? Yes, he did, so... nice, safe play there. Oh, that's a good sack sled. That is very good. Also ripped the... Wait, did Patrick have Groudon? I didn't see his match on stream. I know Ashton had Groudon in top 4 against Jeremy, but yeah, rip that. Yeah, that was, yeah, we've only had one Groudon in top cut, and that got knocked out. It was from Ashton. What did I miss? So we're under Trick Room. No damage has really been dealt to the Lele or the Yveltal, so I think Westley needs to turn the gas on and start dealing a lot of chunk damage. If not, try taking knockouts. Incineroar and Dialga, as you can see on screen, they're both really, really bulky. They're very invested in their HP. And Lele's gonna come out here. That's a wise play, I think. But if Westley hit that slot with... Okay, so it's a U-turn coming out here. Probably just to recycle that Intimidate. Alright, Amoonguss coming back in here. It got some health back through Generator. And a Flash Cannon coming out into the Toxicroak. That does an okay amount, I suppose. But Wesley's Dialga is now Aguavless. So, however, Westley can start spreading the Spore like crazy everywhere. This turn, what do? You Spore the Toxicroak, that's threatening the most damage on you. Yeah, I can see that. And then, I think you can go for a pretty easy Flash Cannon into the Yveltal, or just into the Toxicroak, I guess. I guess that also makes sense. Just get rid of the thing that's threatening the most damage on you. And Foul Play coming out into Dialga, that does a lot of damage. I think you need to start focusing down on the Yveltal now. You need Spore off onto it. Or Rage Powder with the Amoonguss, I guess. But it's safer right now to just Spore into the Yveltal slot. And do some more attacking with Dialga. I think this is the last turn of Trick Room, if I'm right. Because, what, Trick Room went up turn 1, and we've had 5 turns so far. So, Dialga is going to swap out for now. Incineroar's coming in. And gonna drop the attack on Yveltal once more. Okay, withdraw the Toxicroak. I like that. Kyogre coming in. So this is the last turn of Psychic Terrain, so Jeremy can get the Yveltal out if he has... he can bring the Lele back in after Trick Room expires. So, yeah, everything's just disappearing for now. So, you could go for that cheeky play now, get Lele in and Water Spout, because Amoonguss will take a solid third from that, and Incineroar will be gone. And if you try to swap the Incin out for anything else, it's going to take an uncomfortable amount of damage from it. So, That kind of puts this all in a precarious position, I feel. However, if you're Westley, you could also expect the Yveltal to swap out, and you could just spore something. I would probably spore the... Not going for the Lele switch. Oh man. A foul play goes into the Amoonguss. Jeez, that does a lot. Alright, and spore off into the Kyogre. Alright, so nice. So, Kyogre's gonna take its guaranteed turn of sleep here if it doesn't get swapped out. And then... you could swap the Amoonguss out in... I don't know, this is interesting. If you Rage Powder with the Amoonguss, U-turn with the Incineroar, you could get, okay, so Tapu Lele is gonna come in here. Amoonguss is gonna retreat for now. Dialga coming in. I think Wesley's hoping that Jeremy opted not to foul play the Dialga slot. Foul play coming out. And that's going into Dialga. So that's Wesley's speed control gone. Incineroar is just going to U-turn, but I don't think Wesley got the most value out of that Trick Room. And now he's down a Pokemon for it. Amoonguss coming back in. I love that little noise it makes. Kyogre gonna come in here. You could see a pretty easy Rage Powder plus Origin Pulse potentially, but Jeremy does have the Toxicroak in the back, so you could protect with one slot and get Toxicroak in with the other. So I feel like it's a combination of things like the Toxicroak is still around. Wesley still hasn't gotten a knockout, even though he went all in on turn 1 Trick Room. And I don't think it's paying off for him right now. So yeah, I can't say Wesley's in a good position. Yeah, I think Jeremy's kind of in the driver's seat, and Jeremy just really has to clean up right now. Tapu Lele is just going to Psychic. That's going to get rid of the Amoonguss. Fair enough. And Thunder coming out into the protecting Yveltal slot. That's unfortunate. Because now all you can do is... you can attempt to fake out the Yveltal and Thunder, because that will be damage onto something that doesn't appreciate it. But I figure that Yveltal's awake. Yveltal's awake, Toxicroak and Kyogre aren't. Maybe swap one of those in order to sack it off, and then let Yveltal clean up at the very end. Incineroar flexing out here. That's gonna go into the Tapu Lele slot, actually. And that doesn't kill. That does. With a critical hit. Yveltal and Tapu Lele are gonna be the big finish here. And now that Rain's gone, you're gonna have out of Thunder. You're gonna have out of Rain Thunders. Saxlad. CP doesn't get you world champion. Doesn't make you world champion. CP gets you a chance at it. Saxlad. But yeah, now Wesley's down to 1 Pokemon, and Jeremy still has that Yveltal there. Staring him down. And if that Kyogre wakes up, then it's pretty ogre. It's pretty ogre. It wasn't intentional, and then it was intentional. I would do a Shrek accent, but I'm pretty sure I'll butcher it. Saxlad, do I get world invite by that Pokemon pun? Alright, so Incineroar's just gonna go for a knockoff, and jeez! Oh my lord. Well, there's the Choice Scarf. Day 2 invite right there, I'll take it. And Yveltal's just gonna go for another foul play. Wrapping it up. So, Jeremy pulling it back, and we're going to game 3. So, Wesley needs to get more stuff done under Trick Room. So, I don't know if you can really overextend and go for turn 1 Trick Room, because Jeremy won't have anything damaged at that point. Oh, they can hear me? Alright. Well, it's been fun, guys, but I guess they can hear me and I can't compensate anymore. Enjoy the rest. Take it easy.